Hello guys and welcome. I hope you're all doing well today. Today we're going to be going over a few useful EQ tricks in Ableton. So there's a few things that we can do here to get some cool sounds. So we're going to use a piano loop if we can get one. I mean, that totally works. So we can just loop that. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at this piano loop, and then we're going to show you a few EQ tips that you can use in a practical music production scenario to help your music sound a bit better. So we've got this EQ type, the original EQ. So yours will probably look something like this, just a flat normal EQ. So that means nothing's being done. So with the EQ8, we can, if we have this enabled, this one here, this graph, we get a spectral analysis of the sound, which is great. And you can see quite populated in the mids, and there's a little bit of lows and highs going on. So we've got anything from 0 Hz to 100 Hz. That's what this x-axis is, I think. Y-axis, 100, 1k Hz, 10k Hz. And when I refer to the low end, DJs might know, but this is the low end, so anywhere between 0 and 100 Hz. So you've got your sub frequencies, your basses, your kick drums, sub bass, and then in your mids, you've got your kind of body, so you've got the body of the piano, and then in the high frequency, you've got kind of your vocals and hi-hats and stuff, and in the middle, you kind of got like your toms. So we're just going to have a play around with the EQ so you guys understand it first. So you can change your EQ type. So I'm going to change this to a low pass, or you can do like a ×4 low pass, which is good. So my default is over here, so I'll cut anything under 100 Hz. So you can kind of see how moving this will cut anything over here. So what does that mean for your productions? Basically, if you want to get rid of the bass of something, so there's more room for the kick and the bass, we're just going to cut the low end. So anything below 100 Hz, so we're going to cut here, and then as you cut more of the sound, you only get the high frequencies left. Which is quite cool. So you can really chop a whole sample and make it sound totally different, which is fine. And then we can bring this back. And you can like boost certain frequencies, which will add resonance. You can pick out interesting frequencies or take certain frequencies away. So if you wanted to cut, let's say, a harsh frequency like here, you could just go down to get rid of it. And you can highlight up to 8 of these at once in the EQ settings. So let's go into the first EQ type. So if I'm processing drums such as hi-hats or claps, I'm going to cut out the low end just to give more space for the kick and the bass, so it's less congested in that area, which makes a nice dance floor record, of course. A new trick that I've learned is cutting at 1k. So this is going to allow certain drums to punch through the mix a bit nicer. So I'll do this to pianos, synths, vocals. It just gives it more of a cleaner, professional sound. Because there's often a congestion at 1k where loads of synths are layered on top of each other and it's just too much frequency in that area. So something interesting to think about. Another EQ type is when we cut the high end out. So we're just going to do a little bit of the high end and kind of get more of a lo-fi, warmer sound. And just polishes out, you get rid of any unwanted high frequencies and it just sounds a bit better. And you can obviously go a bit more extreme with that and it'll sound more lo-fi and kind of underwater. And then you kind of get that filtered underwater one note sound. But I like to do something like this, and then we got the low end cut out, so the kick and the bass is there. Cut a 1K and cut the tops out a little bit. And another useful EQ type is this radio EQ, which I found recently. So if we shape the EQ like this, we kind of get like a nice radio sound. So this will stick out in the mix and sound really nice, especially for like hip hop or house tracks. And you just get a culmination of high frequencies that sound good. And it results in a much nicer sounding, kind of quite unique radio piano. Nice, sounds nice. And you can tweak that slightly to your preference. But I think most comfortably something like this. So that sounds good. And then the final EQ type I'll show you is if we just wanted to cut off the top end to give it kind of more of a warm sound. It kind of turns into like a bass, so we could have the piano as the bass line because it's only in the low end. Not totally productive, maybe I'd add like a sub layer in as well just to cover this bit. So if I just got like a sub from the clips, just pop that in. Perfect. And that's kind of a nice layered bass line. But yeah, for pianos I'd recommend taking out a bit of a low end. Maybe get this radio effect, so it doesn't interfere with any other frequencies too much. Or the simple filtered out the low end, cut a 1K, and then cut a bit of the highs off for that nice warm, grand classic piano sound. But yeah, thank you for listening guys. That was a few useful EQ techniques that you can use in your own tracks. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Peace.